Is the Melodrip worth $60? What's going on, everyone? It's Chris from 416 Coffee, and this is episode 25 of Coffee with Chris. Now, today I'm looking at the Melodrip. So this is a device that's supposed to be used in conjunction with a pour-over brewer, like they recommend using a V60, and it's meant to help with agitation and dispersing water. So they give you a bunch of stuff in here. They give you the Melodrip, they give you this stirring rod, they even give you, this is a really nice touch, they give you this little kind of clear thing that shows you ground coffee inside, so you can match the grind. And they give you a recipe in here as far as like a full V60 technique to use in conjunction with the Melodrip to brew a pot of coffee. So I'm going to use this recipe today. I'm going to follow it to a T. I'm going to figure out if this accessory is worth $60. So first things first, we got to preheat everything as usual. The Melodrip, no difference there. All right, so we have our kettle boiling. We're going to get our V60 filter all wet and get the brewer all ready to go. Pop that right back there for a second. And I just brought this mug here to dump this extra water into. Alright, so now we're ready to go. So the Melodrip calls for 15 grams of coffee, and we're going to do 240 grams of water. So I got the coffee and I ground it as close to this little circle as I could. So we got 15 grams in, and now it says it wants to do a 3 times bloom, so we're going to add 45 grams of water, and then we're going to let it bloom for 45 seconds. So, alright, let's add the water. Alright, and then we're going to give it a stir, and we'll start our timer, and we're going to let it bloom for 45 seconds, remember. So, kind of a longer bloom than normal. Usually I recommend 30 seconds, but I don't think it can hurt to let it bloom a bit longer. So once that blooms, each sprinkle, we're going to do 2 times the coffee mass. So in this case, we're going to do 30 grams of water per kind of sprinkle, and then let it come down, and then add more, and it should take, they're saying the whole thing should take 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're at 35 seconds now, 10 more seconds, and we're going to start doing our 30 gram sprinkles, let it come down, 30 gram sprinkle, let it come down, 30 gram sprinkles. Alright, here we go. Alright, there's one 30 gram sprinkle. Let it come down. Here comes 30 gram sprinkle number 2. It's looking pretty good. $30 gram sprinkle number 3. And every time we're just letting it drain just to the top of the coffee bed, and then we're redoing our 30 gram sprinkle. Alright, so that was 30 gram sprinkle number, I think, 4. So they're saying 240 grams of water should be the end. So that means we have two more sprinkles. We're just gonna let that come down a bit more again. Alright, so just to update you, we're at 3 minutes. We're at 210 grams total. So we're going to add another 30 grams as our last sprinkle, and then we're going to let this draw down. And we're looking for a total brew time around 4 minutes and 30 seconds according to this. So let's do the last sprinkle in just a second. Yeah, it's coming down enough. And we're at 240. Okay, so now we're just going to let this draw down. And then we'll give it a taste, and we'll give it my personal opinion, my verdict. So far, I will say the process is very involved. Like, you're very focused on what you're doing, which is important, I think. You know, usually if you're making a pour-over coffee, you are pretty engaged in what's going on. So I think that's a good thing. It does kind of force you to pay attention to what you're doing with the pour-over, which is probably a good thing. So I might have been slightly coarser than they would have recommended here because it looks like I'm about done brewing and I'm at 410. So I probably should have went a bit finer, but to be honest with you, 410 for a pour over of this size seems like a very fair length of time. So I'll still give it a taste, but I will just offer that as a full disclosure. I was slightly 20 seconds under brew time, so I might have been a little too coarse. So if it tastes a little hollow, I will not chalk that up to this. I will chalk that up to my grind profile being maybe slightly too coarse. All right. I would say it tastes like a really good pour over. Like, it's super clear, has a nice palate feel, nice smooth kind of silky palate feel. We're drinking our Papua New Guinea from the Seagrey Estate, so kind of those smoky, chocolatey tones are coming out here. But it is a very clear cup of coffee. When I say clear, I mean it's very easy to taste kind of some of those nice origin characteristics, and maybe even slightly clearer than it would be if I had done a normal pour over, you know, just with the gooseneck kettle. And now the nice thing about this as well is you could use one of these instead of using a gooseneck kettle. You could do this, as long as you can control your pour, you can do this with a conventional kettle. So that is a nice thing. So, it made a great cup of coffee. Is it worth $60? Here's the thing. If you like doing pour overs, this might be a fun gadget for you to pick up. They started it on Kickstarter, and they did it just as coffee enthusiasts. They designed this thing, and it is well built, and it does look nice, and the packaging's fantastic, and it gives you a couple different recipes in here. So I'd say in that sense, it's like 10 out of 10. At $60, it's slightly more expensive, and if you're not doing pour overs a lot, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you don't have a gooseneck kettle and you're doing pour overs and you were thinking about either investing in a gooseneck kettle or this is a totally viable alternative, because I was really impressed with kind of the results, and it's super easy to follow. If you follow the recipe, it's very easy. You know, it takes a couple minutes and you got a great cup of coffee. So I would totally recommend. I love the packaging. I love what they did. And yeah, if you're into pour overs, this might be a fun thing to get. Or if you want to avoid buying a gooseneck kettle, $60 you can get this, and you do that with the normal kettle and you're good to go. So anyways, guys, hey, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go drink the rest of this pot of coffee in peace. But thank you so much for watching. Always let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you're going to pick up a Melodrip, or if you need any help finding one, I can send some links to where you can buy these guys. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.